Good morning, everyone. This is a tutorial for how to use the DSST E School resources. I wanted to make this as easy for you to use as possible, very straightforward, and just very clear. And so in the style of our unit guides, for each module, I've put together a teacher overview, which tells you exactly what module you're looking at for the day on page 1. And on page 2, you will find an April calendar, which is what I plan to do through the end of April, depending on how long our time out of school, the stay-at-home order is in place. So with that said, let's take a look at what each module contains. There will be the objective, which tells you what students are working on. And in Module 3, students are going to be working on describing art styles and genres by their characteristics. I tell you which communication skills they'll be looking at for this particular unit, listening and reading, and the output is speaking. For each one of these, there will be 10 words, most of which are then assessed in the ticket to leave. So these are some of the art terms that they will focus on today. And then in terms of mastery, exposure, and spiral, students will be mastering styles and types of artwork. So just those terms and knowing what they are. They will be exposed to the names of artists that are a part of their final, and also Velázquez, because one of their listenings has to do with Velázquez, but he's not on their final. And they will spiral old words such as directional words, words from Module 2, which are descriptions of artwork, and basic Spanish colors and numbers, and the word sueño is included as well at one point in this presentation. On to the practices. I've linked everything that is a part of the module into the teacher overview, much like I used to do with our unit guides. So if you click on Google Slide for Activity 1, it's going to bring you to the presentation for Module 3. You'll notice up top you still have access to the overview. The Module 3 will open in a new window, so you can go back and forth between these two windows once you have it open. And so in the teacher overview, as you can see, Do Now is about Diego Velázquez. They are doing a listening and answering these questions, spiraled words from Module 1. Moving on through, the second practice is practice with their words. And there will be between 10 to 15 words for them to practice each day. Well, in this case, 17. And so the list is here, and they are added onto this list by school in Quizlet. When students do this work, I will record who did the work and email you. Practice 3 is in the Google Slide yet again. And it is a series of slides where students are practicing their vocab and context. As you can see, next to each of the practices, I give a suggestion as to whether or not you should grade it, but you are free to grade all of it if you have time. But the most important things to grade are the mastery check, and whatever the turned-in activity is for the day, which is usually going to be in the Google Classroom that I have set up for each of your classes. So if you look at the Google Classroom, which many of you have already signed on to, whenever I assign an activity to our students, I will assign it by school. So I will assign the activity for the day, and there will be 6 different copies of it for each DSST school. That way, when they turn it in, you know which activity to go into to see your particular students. And you can grade from there and then enter in your grades however you see fit. Give them feedback on here, whatever the case may be. If we go back to the overview one more time, I'm also linking in your mastery check to the teacher overview. So you should be able to come here very easily without having to search for it in the library, because things sometimes don't turn up there for some weird reason. You should be able to preview it here if you need to preview it. You can create a new version if you choose you want to edit it, and simply assign here as well. Okay? But definitely create a new version if you plan on editing it at all. Do not go straight into edit because you will edit the original copy. So create a new version before editing and then assign. And again, always go to the preview first to see what you like, what you want to change, whatever the case may be. And then finally, I like to have a plan, and I know our kids like structure and like having a plan. And so I created this calendar again. For each module, you will find in the calendar that I've crossed off the modules that should have been done up to that point. So if this were module 3, we've already done module 1 y 2. And this is where they are at the moment. Feel free to share this with your students. It's actually already included at the end of each of the presentation slides, so that they know what they're responsible for, what's coming, so that they know that this is not just busy work, but there are actual goals here. I'm not particularly sure what DSST is going to have as a rule around formatives and summatives, but it felt right for me to work them in here. If it's decided that we won't give actual formatives and summatives, I'll simply change them to graded practices when I post them into Edulastic. So yeah, you can see where I plan to go with this unit. And if you have any feedback for me, I am open to that. Hopefully this experience is a successful one overall. And I'm gonna try to do my best for you all on my end to make sure that things are clear and in a space that makes sense and is still just quality in terms of what we're giving to our students. All right, let's do this. Go team.